Good morning. Today is Wednesday, November 29th, and this is Devotions from St. Paul Evangelical Lutheran Church in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I'm going to take a passage today from John's Gospel. This passage takes place shortly after Jesus healed a man on the Sabbath. And the Pharisees are wondering how he can flaunt the laws that they follow about the Sabbath. And they're accusing him, and they're looking for ways to persecute and eventually to kill him. And so Jesus talks about his witness, and that's what this passage is about. So this is from the 5th chapter of John's Gospel. I can do nothing on my own, Jesus said. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek to do not my own will, but the will of him who sent me. If I testify about myself, my testimony is not true. There is another who testifies on my behalf, and I know that his testimony to me is true. You sent messengers to John, and he testified to the truth. Not that I accept such human testimony, but I say these things that you may be saved. He was a burning and a shining lamp, and you were willing to rejoice with him for a while in his light. But I have testimony greater than John's. The works that the Father has given me to do testify to what I am doing. They testify on my behalf that the Father has sent me. And the Father who sent me has testified himself on my behalf. You have never heard his voice or seen his form, and you do not have his word abiding in you, because you do not believe the one he has sent. Have you ever thought about the authority that Jesus has, the testimony, where his power comes from? He's clear here in this passage. He will be challenged over and over again by the Pharisees because he does not follow the laws and the rules about the laws that the Pharisees profess, and by and large the rules that they do follow. But he will tell them again and again, the rules that you write are for your benefit, not for others. In this part, he tells, the testimony that I give has been given about me by the Father. And he also includes John the Baptist. So I want to take a look back a little bit and see where we see in previous writings about these witnesses and about the testimony about Jesus. Jesus went to John to be baptized in the Jordan, baptized with water. In John's Gospel, John the Baptist told Jesus, "It is I who should be baptized by you, and you come to me?" And Jesus says, "Let it be so at this time." And so John baptized Jesus. And as he was coming out of the water, it says in Matthew's Gospel, the Father witnessed to Jesus, "This is my Son, the beloved, in whom I am well pleased." And all those that were there heard it. And so we have two testimonies there. Now there's one further from John the Baptist that's in John's Gospel, and he says, "I am not the Messiah. I am only one that shows his way. There is one coming after me who was before me, who I am not worthy to untie the thong of his sandal." And so they testify about Jesus. Now you can think of one more time when the Father testified about Jesus, and that was at the Transfiguration. And he said to the apostles that were there, to Peter and James and John, again, this is my son, the beloved. Listen to him. It says in lots of places that the witness of one person is not sufficient testimony about anything that deals with the law. And Jesus says in this passage that his testimony by itself, if that's all there was, would be insufficient. But both John the Baptist, a human, and the Father, on at least 2 occasions, have testified about Jesus. Jesus says that the works that he does, that he was doing at that time, testify about the power that the Father gave him. It's important for us to think about this, because it's not enough just to say, okay, Jesus was God. Jesus was the Messiah. But he came and proved that all that was true, and all the people that were there saw and heard the testimony of John the Baptist, and those that were at the Jordan, the testimony of God. And we have this in the scripture for us. Now, what does that say to us today? I have not seen Jesus in the flesh. And other than reading it in the Bible, I have not heard the voice of God witnessing to Jesus. But I accept the testimony of both John, who's a human like you and me, and all the people that heard the voice of God at the Jordan. And so it is important for me to know that Jesus is the Son of God, and he came here for you and for me. And at least for me, that's important for me to have a relationship with him, because he's doing the will of God. And the actions that he did, all the miracles, they prove that God gave him the power. And the way Jesus explains it in this passage, witness to his giving him the power to fulfill what God thought was right, what the will of God was for human beings. I think it's important for us to have a baseline credibility for Jesus. Not enough just to say, I believe, but to know why. Because I think if you have that, when the time comes and somebody asks you, why do you believe? What do you believe? You've got background to be a witness for Jesus in addition. Now, your witness and my witness are a lot like John the Baptist's witness, and that is, we're humans. And it doesn't hold water as far as Jesus is concerned. But we're not witnessing to Jesus, we're witnessing for Jesus, and we're witnessing to other human beings like ourselves. And I think that every time we do that, God can use that to light a fire. Now, the fire doesn't always keep going. We've seen lots of parables that talk about how that goes. But that's not our problem. God will handle that part. Our part is be the witness. Be the witness. Just like John was the witness for Jesus, we need to be witnesses. And that's what this passage tells us. We have a strong basis for our witness. I hope you'll read this, Pat. I hope you'll think about how this talks to you and to me and encourages us and almost impels us to be witnesses for Jesus. It seems to me some of us talk about it more than others, and some of us act it out more than others. And I think both of those witnesses are good, solid, honest witnesses for Jesus. So if yours is more action than it is talking, or if yours is more talking than it is action, Take heart. That's the gift that God gave you to witness for Jesus. I hope you think about this. I hope you pray about this. And when the time comes, I hope this is strong support so that you can give your witness for Jesus. Thank you.